Welcome to the Sharp Sports Report. It is the Monday after draft weekend. Oh my God, the future of NFL teams could have been completely changed. Some of the picks we've seen appear right now to be just absolutely fantastic. Some questionable. Some of the trades made appear to be fantastic, but we will never know until the careers and their
Are
times.
you only saying the trades were
done.
fantastic because your Eagles picked up A.J. Brown Thursday?
Also, because the Cardinals got Marquise Brown, which after what happened to DeAndre Hopkins today, is a pretty big pickup for them. And starting whenever we start talking about the first team, I will be doing a McIver impression. I'm sorry if it is awful. It probably will be awful, but we're doing it anyway. Brandon, you want to start out with the team that had the first overall pick?
I mean, listen, we can go through every single pick. I still don't like the Trayvon Walker pick, but I think it's pretty cool that Aiden Hutchinson stayed in Michigan his whole career. He's from Michigan, stays home. For some reason, I'm just not sold on Trayvon Walker. I'm just not. And looks like a lot of other people were not too once he was drafted. But it is what it is.
Well, you sit there and you look at Trayvon Walker and you see the intangibles this man has. He's a natural-born, skilled football player. He has the body for it. That's the one question people had with Aiden Hutchinson. His arms were a little too tiny, a little too small. And that's not what you want to see on a guy on the defensive line because he can't do the swim moves around the offensive line that you would like to see. That's something I brought up the other day when we were doing our mock draft, which if you would like to check that out, you can. I don't know exactly what picks we made. I do know we got the first two correct. I see Trayvon Walker as a big home run for the Jaguars. Although we all know whenever I say something is going to be huge and fantastic, it ends up failing. So we move on forward. The last two times the Detroit Lions have had the second overall pick was Ndamukong Suh, absolute baller, and Calvin Johnson, Megatron, fantastic wide receiver. And now I want to move on to the next team, the Houston Texans, who surprised me a little bit, frankly, with their pick of Derek Stingley Jr. at cornerback.
I'm not surprised at all. The dude was pretty much a top 5, top 10 pick all year before Sauce Gardner came out of nowhere.
Don't say that. That's not true. He was not a top 5, top 10 pick all year. Everyone knew. Everyone. Yep. All these analytical people, including me, are saying Sauce Gardner's the better cornerback. Derek Stingley's coming off a year where he's constantly injured and playing like absolute garbage. You're looking at Sauce Gardner, a dude who's an athletic phenom. Okay, doesn't get a touchdown up all year. That's the kind of quarterback you're looking at. You choosing Derek Stingley over Sauce Gardner, a guy who could be a revolutionary player for your defense. Personally, I don't understand it.
I mean, Derek Stingley could have went top 10 last year, but he came back.
Exactly, but it doesn't matter what happened last year. We saw
so he went top 5.
We saw what happened this previous football season. He's injury prone and he's not that great. A lot of the highlights we saw were from 2019. That's 2 years ago. That's 3 years ago, as a matter of fact.
Okay, you sound like you're a freaking Philly, Boston, Mel Kiper right now. I understand the 76ers are playing tonight.
I'm not. Phillies talk like you guys and all that shiznit, and Boston has kind of the more that. I'm just trying to talk like an angry dude right now. Okay, if you don't appreciate it,
because you sound like Jay Glazer more than Mel Kiper.
Jay Glazer's an asshole. We don't talk about Jay Glazer on here.
Okay, well you're talking like Jay Glazer.
Doesn't matter. I'm Kel Miper. I'm not Mel Kiper. Why don't you shut up?
I'm not surprised Jermaine Johnson fell as far as he did because I think we talked about that in our mock draft on Thursday or Wednesday, excuse me. I mean, he fell to 26. I mean, I don't know why the hype came in for this kid. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but can we just say like the Jets won this draft overall?
I mean, absolutely. The offensive weapons they were able to pick up, stupendous.
Oh God, I can't even take you serious right now.
Stupendous.
I can't even take you serious.
I mean, they end up bringing in Bryce Hall in the second round. That's a huge pickup, but I had him going in the first round of the Bills.
I mean, so just hear me out. The top teams who won the draft, I'm going to give you my top 3. I want to say the Jets, the Eagles. Ooh. And I'm also going to go with the Ravens. Outside of the Linderbaum pick, you still get Kyle Hamilton, probably the best athlete in this draft, an overall player who can play every position. You also bring in David Ajabo, which is a great pick. Linderbaum, I mean, I was kind of surprised they chose Linderbaum instead of getting a receiver to replace Marquise Brown, because as of right now, they have no other receivers besides Rashad Bateman and some no names that I've never heard of. But then the losers of the draft will be the Titans, the Patriots, and the Jaguars. Jaguars, yes, they took Trayvon Walker with the first overall pick, but then they took 2 freaking more linebackers throughout the draft. They needed other needs. They have no weapons. They have nothing.
I think you're forgetting one big team that should be number 1 on every loser's board right now. It's the Green Bay Packers. They did not get a single wide receiver in the first round. They didn't have this is the what I think it's like the 17th, or maybe I might be the 20th year. I don't know. It's something high. Where they don't draft a skill position, making that running back, wide receiver, or tight end for 20 straight years. And you're seeing you bring in Aaron Rodgers, and you're hoping maybe you bring in some other guys. You can still target some free agents, and you're bragging about getting in Sammy Watkins. I'm telling you right now, Sammy's a bum. He's a bum. He eats too many cheeseburgers. He's a bum. Okay, now you're drafting 2 defensive players, not even an offensive lineman to help Aaron Rodgers, and you don't even trade up. You have other teams trading up to get receivers, and you're not doing it. It's appalling.
Can you talk to Kellen for a second? Because whoever this person is I'm talking to is not making any damn sense.
What do you mean? They should have easily been able to trade up in the first round to get a wide receiver if they are determined to make Aaron Rodgers a better player in Green Bay for the remaining time of his new contract. And they got him no help. They had the guy from North Dakota State or South Dakota State, one of the Dakota States. He ain't going to help him too much.
Jesus. Well, okay. I don't even know where to go from this, because I don't even know half the shit you're even talking about.
Well, because you're a goddamn idiot, Brandon. I'm not talking nonsense right now. I'm saying the Packers are the biggest loser of the NFL draft.
Yes, I completely understand.
Well, you just said you don't understand.
Well, not when you talk in that dumb voice. But Kel Miper did have some quality picks for his mock draft on Wednesday. I believe you were correct on your top 2 picks. I mean, that was pretty much it. I still can't believe that Nakobe Dean dropped as far as he did, but to fall right in the Eagles' lap, I mean, the Eagles could not have been more ecstatic for that. I was surprised, really surprised they took Jordan Davis as their first-round pick. I was like, okay, well, you guys have Fletcher Cox back. You still have Javon Hargrave, but you didn't replace Brandon Graham's position at all. You didn't get a right end. You didn't get a defensive end at all. But, hey, maybe you can somehow work with Hargrave or Davis and bring him off the edge. He's a big body, like an Ndamukong Suh type player. Bring him off the edge.
Well, and we have a young guy in Montez Sweat out there who's doing all right. He's an all right guy who can come off the edge and give you some quality minutes. But you're sitting there, and do you remember who gets picked next after Jordan Davis? Who's the guy that gets picked next? It was Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, you guys could have got Kyle Hamilton.
Exactly. That's what makes me
Dawkins.
the angriest. Not that. Hey, you remember what I said on Wednesday? You compared Kyle Hamilton to like a Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed mixed, and I said, no, he is Steve Atwater. And guess what was said on ESPN when he was picked? Steve Atwater asked, ESPN hire me. I know what I'm talking about. Just because Brandon can't understand my Kel Miper accent doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, but you're sitting there as an Eagle and you're wondering, like Jordan Davis, I'm going to say this right now. He can be fantastic. He can learn so much from Fletcher Cox and Javon.
You know he's not going to start.
I don't care. He doesn't need to start. He doesn't need to. He can learn. He can sit there for a year or two and just learn some stuff from some of the best pass rushers we've seen over the last 5 years. He could do that. Okay, but we're sitting there, and we need safety. We need secondary bad. All we got is Darius freaking Slay and Marcus Epps. You bring in an athletic phenom and Kyle Hamilton, and our defense goes up top 10. Top 10.
I mean, listen, after the Cowboys' horrible draft, you guys are still my favorite to win the division right now.
Absolutely, but you got to understand, once we get to the playoff time, we're playing some of the best offenses in the league in the NFC. You got the Rams. Offense is fantastic. Tampa Bay bringing back Tom Brady with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Fantastic. And we have no secondary. It's angering. That's what it is. But let's move past the Eagles. Let's go to another NFC East team that's also making me a little angry in the New York Giants. Look, your number one need is an offensive line because you think Danny Dimes is the second coming of Christ. And what do? You get Evan Neal. That's fine. But with the fifth pick, you could have got Ikem Ekwonu, a guy who me and Brandon will think is the best offensive lineman in this draft. The dude is fantastic. Personally, I think he'll be much better than Evan Neal will be. But with the fifth pick, you take Kevin Thibodeau. He's going to be there at 7. I could guarantee he'd be there at 7 because if you take Ikem Ekwonu, the Panthers are taking Evan Neal, and you get Kayvon at 7. Now, and that's a small little gripe, but it's a gripe nonetheless because I think Ikem Ekwonu is going to be the next Orlando Pace.
That's a bold statement.
It's an accurate
Very
statement
bold statement
by Kel Kniper.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. But didn't the Panthers pick before? Oh no, they picked Kayvon Thibodeau before 6. I mean, I understand that. I probably would have chose Ikem Ekwonu or Ike Ekwonu is what they're calling him. I think the biggest surprise was how high your boy Jahan Dotson went in the draft. He was a top 20 pick. He gets picked up by another division rival, the Commanders. Let's see if Darius Slay can slow down your Penn State alum right there. And I just think my other kind of eye opener that was picked in the first round was Tyler Smith, that Cowboys pickup, the offensive tackle out of Tulsa. I mean, and then I think the biggest one was from a team that you would not expect to make something like this, and it was the Patriots picking this Cole Strange out of Chattanooga. I mean, Sean McVay and the Rams owner almost laughed at it because they were live streaming the draft at that point.
I mean, when you're looking at a guy who by Sean McVay and the Rams organization was viewed as a guy that could be there at the 104th pick, a 3rd round draft pick, and you're taking him in the first. Taking him in the 1st round, Bill. Now, I don't want to hate on Bill Belichick because the dude does all right with questionable draft picks. When it comes to defense and offensive line, you're like, hey, I don't know who that guy is, or why did he draft him so early? And then they end up being at least possible close to all pro guys. If it was our receiver at that position that we weren't sure about, then I'd be afraid. But I'm perplexed, definitely, but not concerned. And dear God, the Cowboys. Look, you messing up draft picks, I'm loving it because I'm an Eagles fan, but you don't need an offensive line. That's the last thing you got to worry about right now. You gave away Amari Cooper, and you got to think at this point. You need some offensive fire to help that Prescott, because Ezekiel Elliott is as inconsistent as inconsistent can be. And you got Tony Pollard, who I'd rather have him start. It's just the questionable move. Very questionable move. And for the football team, I pray to God Darius Slay is not guarding Jahan Dotson, because that means Terry McLaurin's probably not on your team anymore. I mean, I understand the pick because you need to get more weapons for homeboy Carson Wentz, but I mean, you could have gotten them in the 2nd round. Come on.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff teams could have done that they just didn't do. But I think the coolest storyline of the 1st round hits home for me. Pittsburgh Steelers bringing in the homeboy Kenny Pickett. Great scene. I was actually shocked that they did not take Malik Willis after so much press and hype was Tomlin over Malik Willis and this kid out of Liberty. But he dropped all the way, to the 3rd round? I mean, that was unbelievable. Then he gets picked up by the Titans, which even just didn't make any sense at all. There might be something going on with Ryan Tannehill after the AJ Brown debacle. And then the Steelers picked up George Pickens in the second round. And also, let me tell you the size of the wide receivers the Steelers have now. Besides Deontay Johnson, you have a 6'3" Chase Claypool. You have a 6'4" Miles Boykin, and you now have a 6'2" George Pickens. You just throw that ball up.
Okay, I understand.
And then you have Deontay Johnson, little speedster, little Wes Welker type, right over the middle. Beautiful.
Okay. I'm gonna ignore your comparison to Deontay Johnson to Wes Welker, okay? Because Wes Welker is one of the greatest route runners the NFL has ever seen. But look, I understand picking up George Pickens is fantastic, but I feel like that pick could have been used to fill another hole on your squad in relation to your defense, because you don't need 4 wide receivers like that. You don't need 3 wide receivers who are 6'3".
What do we need on defense? What are you talking about? We just signed DeMonte KZ today. We have Miles Jack in our linebacker core with Devin Bush, Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward.
Don't talk about Devin Bush. Devin Bush is always either injured or underperforming, and your secondary is all right. Minka Fitzpatrick having one of his worst years of his career last year. Was it a good year still? Yes, but they're on a decline of what you would like to see.
But we picked up Levi Wallace.
Ooh, wow, Levi Wallace, what a great dude. Mark my words, by week 1, Kenny Pickett's not starting. It's going to be Mitch Trubisky. Kenny Pickett's hands are too small. They're smaller than mine.
I mean, so, okay. We're not even going to go to this small hands bullshit. But anyways, we talked about the Eagles. We talked about the Steelers. I know Alec is not here again. We'll have to talk about his Chiefs. His Chiefs took George Karlaftis first round late overall. I was surprised they took that pick. They also picked up Brian Cook, the safety out of Cincinnati. And they also, I believe they picked up a wide receiver.
Sky Moore.
Yes, that was it. Sky Moore, which is kind of interesting because they actually have a lot of wide receivers. Well, even after Tyreek Hill's departure.
I had them picking up Sky Moore in the first round, actually. I did not have Sky Moore falling that far. But talks from last year was the Chiefs having a weak defense, and that was a reason why people didn't trust them. And that's the reason they almost lost to the Bills in the playoffs, because they gave up just horrible passes to that wide receiver. Brandon, you know the name, I always forget it. Is it Pringle?
Mm-hmm. Who's in with Chicago now?
Sure, it doesn't matter, but they gave up those horrible passes. That defense was just horrible last year. Terrible. So getting in Karlaftis and bringing in that safety should help them out an absolute butt ton. And the Chiefs should be, mark my words, I'm going to get bold again. Chiefs are going to be in the Super Bowl next year.
I mean, that's a very bold take very early on.
Doesn't matter. I'm Kel Miper. That's what I do.
I mean,
I wave my hands around to confuse people and just scream and stuff, and none of it makes any sense. And then once something happens, I say, oh, I told them. That's what I do.
Dougie Mills, if they had a most improved player award, he's winning that this upcoming year.
Dougie Mills is
with John Mechie the third.
He's not gonna be the MIP, but the Texans will be the MIP team.
How much do you want to bet the Texans will compete for the second spot in the AFC South?
Absolutely. You look at the Jaguars, that offense is still very questionable at best. I mean, they're paying DJ Chalk an absolutely stupid, not DJ Chalk. What's his name? The dude from the Cardinals. Christian Kirk. They're paying Christian Kirk an absolutely stupid amount of money. The Colts are going to be the best team in that division because the Titans don't know what they're doing. They have no one to throw the freaking ball to anymore. I mean, they got Traylon Burks. Sure, and I see Ryan Tannehill out the door. He's not going to be there. Because the last time he played a game for the Titans, he threw 3 interceptions in the playoffs. You can't trust that.
So, staying on the whole quarterbacks aspect, I want to get your opinion because I was a little, I mean, I guess I wasn't surprised at the pick, especially from this team, but the Falcons chose Desmond Ridder in the third round before Malik Willis went off the board. Does he start over Mariota?
No. I see by week one, if we're going by week one standards, I still see Mariota being QB1. I do think probably by week 4 or 5, we see Desmond Ridder plop his way in there, whether that be via injury or just by outplaying him at practice. But it's, I mean, I don't mind the pick. I prefer Desmond Ridder because he seems more like a leader, and his team made the CFP, and he's a winner. He's a winner, and that's what you want. You want a winner.
Well,
the more I do this impression, the less it makes any sense of who I'm actually attempting to do.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying I don't understand who the heck it is you're trying to be or whatever. But anyway,
it doesn't matter. I'm being Kel Miper. It's developing into its own character now. You're welcome.
The draft was great to watch. I think we do have to shout out the Cyclones because Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant in this year's draft, which is pretty damn fucking hilarious.
Literally the only Mr. Irrelevant that I actually know the name of, and I will only ever know the name of.
I mean, and it's hilarious.
It's
and just for all of
fantastic.
Just for all of our South Bend folks and Notre Dame Irish fans, I believe 7 guys were signed as undrafted rookies. Jack Cohn staying in Indiana, back up for the Colts. And honestly, you and I were talking about this when Kyron Williams got drafted. I think that's a great team for him to be on. The way he can receive the ball out of the backfield, especially on those halfback screens, I think he'll be great in. I think he's one of the better blocking running backs in the draft.
To be honest, I mean, we all know my disdain for Notre Dame football. And I like to rail on Notre Dame players and ex-Notre Dame players, except for Brady Quinn. I love you. Kyron Williams is the 3rd best running back in this draft class. The fact that he fell so far, it doesn't make any sense to me. His explosive ability, that play we saw against North Carolina where it was like 97 yards, it broke like 6 tackles and he just kept going. He has the legs of Saquon, the catching ability of Christian McCaffrey, and the speed of Barry Sanders. This dude's an unmatched talent at the running back position.
So from what I'm hearing is he's the steal of the draft is what you're saying.
It's definitely a possibility with the amount of injuries we're seeing in LA from the running back position. He could be starting as soon as week 3 and could be a 4,000-yard rusher in his 3rd year of his career.
Fair enough.
2,000 receiving yards and 2,000 rushing yards in one season for the greatest running back the NFL will ever see.
Well, Kel Miper, it was great to have you on for NFL draft recap. Hoping to bring you back on Wednesday if we can get Alec in so we can get his input. But yeah, NBA playoffs are in full fucking swing. And good God, let me tell you, the best game that I watched was yesterday. Warriors Grizzlies game. Ja Morant is the absolute next superstar to run the NBA. Hands down, no doubt about it. Jaren Jackson Jr. puts up like 8 threes, 35 plus points. He's only 20 years old. He was drafted at 18. Philadelphia starts their series tonight with Miami. They are now losing by 8 with 1.5 minutes to go in the third, but we kind of figured that with Joel Embiid being out. The Bucks absolutely just rolled over the Celtics in game 1. Giannis just manhandled Tatum. I saw that post move he had on him, just put him on his ass. And I am actually looking forward to tonight's game 1, Phoenix and Dallas. Luka Doncic, Chris Paul, Jalen Brunson, Tim Hardaway, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Maxi Kleber.
I mean, good Lord, do we have some great NBA games? Yesterday, sorry, I got something in my eye. Klay Thompson is back, like officially back. You're like, oh, he missed those 2 free throws. Yeah, but he did what he always does, which is clamp up on the very next possession.
See, okay, I don't like that take because let's say he misses those free throws and Morant hits that layup.
He didn't, though.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
He didn't.
I understand.
That's the point. He didn't, though.
Because it's not what I'm saying.
I know, but you're trying to argue like, oh, but then those free throws are like it sucks that he misses those free
Like
throws.
that's the storyline if Morant hits the layup.
Yeah, but that's the thing. A great player knows what to do the next possession. They know that everything hinges upon them locking down John Morant. He saw that they were trying to get John Morant full head of speed to the basket, the same way they did against Timberwolves when he made that floater. It was practically the same exact play, but Clay stepped up, made a very difficult shot, and he missed it. And it really wasn't even like a close miss. It was a hard bank off the back.
Yes, the defense was great, but they could not stop him all game long.
But that's the thing, they don't need to really. I mean, you really can't stop him either. Like
you can't stop John Morant.
I mean, like he drives to the paint and dunks over a 7'2" center. So then you load
the dunk of the year.
Yeah,
easily against the Timberwolves.
So then you load the paint, and then he just takes 36-foot threes. Like I don't know what you would attempt to do to stop that. Now, I don't want to. He will be like one of the best players in the NBA over the next 10, 15 years. I don't think he will run the NBA because I don't think he's going to win a single NBA Finals his entire career because there's not enough draw to Memphis to bring in the high quality free agents.
There will be now.
Oh, really? That's what people were saying in 2015 when they had Mike Conley, Zebo, and Marcus Gasol, and Tony Allen, Vince Carter. It's like, oh, this is going to be it. They didn't even make the finals.
Ja Morant.
I'm just saying, I'm not riding that same hype train. That's all I'm saying. I think the Warriors win this series in 5 games.
Grizz in 6.
You are absolutely high.
Heat in 5.
I'll go Heat in 6.
Yeah, because those games that Embiid's are going to miss are huge.
Yeah, well, he's missing. We're definitely missing the first 2 games. Questionable on the 3rd game, so odds are good chances we go down 3-0. We might win 2 games in a row and then lose again. But
and what did I say when we had our NBA playoffs preview about the damn Milwaukee Bucks? What did I tell you? I told you they were going to turn on at the right time.
I didn't disagree.
I mean, Drew Holiday almost puts up 40 points. When's the last time he even got close to that?
I mean, in the playoffs, I don't think he's ever got close to that. Maybe 2011 when he played for the Sixers, but I mean,
Bobby Bifocals. It's beautiful. The Bucks are going to the finals.
I can't disagree with that. They're the best team in the East by far, talent-wise, team-wise, coaching-wise, the best in the NBA. I mean, you got Pat Connaughton, Notre Dame boy. You have Grayson Allen, the absolute twat.
You have Bryn Forbes, who's been a great addition.
Dude, the ex-San Antonio Spur Bryn Forbes. That dude knows how to win. He played under Greg Popovich. Anyone who plays under Greg Popovich knows how to win. The great. Everywhere you look, you see a player that you at least know the name of. And for me, if you know the name of them, they're good enough to be starting somewhere.
I feel horrible for Philly just because of the situation with Embiid right now.
I don't feel bad.
But at the same time, it happens every damn year with the 76ers. All this hype, they'll win their first series and then jack shit.
I don't say all this hype. I mean, most people didn't have us getting past the Heat anyway. And 2, with 4 minutes left, we're up by 20. Doc still has Joel Embiid playing, and Siakam throws an elbow right into his face.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Because outside of Embiid, you have no backup bigs.
What do you mean? We have the legendary, totally not washed DeAndre Jordan.
He's not even playing tonight. It's been Paul Reed, hasn't it?
Nope. DeAndre started tonight. And Paul Reed as a backup and our 3rd string center started playing too, Paul Millsap.
Oh, yeah, you guys are great shape. But
we also have our rookie Charles Bassey joined the team on the arrival. I'm not sure he's played a minute yet.
Charles Bassey's like a 7-footer from Western Kentucky. He's a tall kid.
Yeah, I clicked the wrong name. Charles Bassey is 6'9", so I don't know what the fuck you're getting 7 feet from Western Kentucky, indeed. He's younger, and he's got to be more athletic than Paul Millsap or DeAndre Jordan.
Well, he can stretch the floor like Embiid. He can shoot the 3. I watched him play at Western Kentucky. But anyway, what I'm getting
at is you watched like 1 game, and you're like, oh, this dude, I know all about him.
He shot 37.5% 8.5% from deep.
You can pull out stats. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean squat.
Anyways,
Ben
I would love
Simmons
to
shot like
see-
40% one year because he made 2 of 6 for threes. Like doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
but I would love to see the Heat and Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. That would be a bloodbath.
I think it'd be a sweep.
You think the Bucks would sweep the Heat?
I do.
Dude, the Heat's defense is is just insane.
You're not stopping
I mean, you
Giannis.
just-
Who do they have to stop 7
Just put
foot
Adebayo
Giannis?
on them.
But that didn't work the last time they played each other in a series.
Well, then put Udonis Haslam on him. Just punch him right in the face.
I mean, that could work.
But outside of that, we have the Warriors. You're picking the Warriors in 6,
5.
5. Now with this Mavericks and Suns situation. Now, was it more of the Jazz collapsing in the previous series or the Mavericks actually being good?
It's a mixture of both. Like, I mean, the Mavericks are, I think, the more talented team, the more well-rounded team. And they have the best player out of both teams. And the Jazz always seem to goddamn collapse. Like, Donovan Mitchell playing terrible defense. Rudy Gobert is just not a playoff center. The dude can't score, and you're not going to win with a center who can't score. And the man has the audacity. He does, not Donovan Mitchell. Rudy Gobert has the audacity to go to the front office and say, it's either me or him. You're not the better player in this situation. You are the by far worst player in the situation because you are only good at one thing and you're getting paid a max contract for it. That's just sad. He needs to go.
I can see a lot of moves happening this offseason player-wise for the Jazz. I think Gobert is gone. Mike Conley, gone. Mike Conley will go to a contender.
He will. He'll go to a contender. The thing is, he's getting paid too much money. Rudy Gobert's getting paid too much money. And I don't know how much you're going to get back to be a contender with Donovan Mitchell. I just don't know if you're going to get enough back.
Since Mike Conley is not so much injury prone, he's just a veteran who's like a Chris Paul type. He knows his shit.
He knows, but unlike Chris Paul, he can't go 14 for 14 in a game.
No, that's fine. No, like who will go 14 for 14?
No, but I'm saying he can't. I guess my point is.
No, but like what I'm saying is, what if you trade him for someone like Alonzo Ball for Chicago? Since Alonzo Ball hasn't really done much of anything in Chicago, but you put him with the defensive team with DeMar DeRozan and Patrick Williams.
I mean, sure, but I like the defensive aspect there, and I like the ball movement aspect, but I don't like. I think they need more point guard shooting.
Mike Conley for Russell Westbrook.
That is literally the complete opposite of what I was thinking. But they've gotten to a point where Donovan Mitchell's trying to shoot threes way more than he should. Like he can if he selects good shots, but he's deadly from mid-range and he's deadly when driving. And I think he needs to focus more on that because if he focuses on that, then his threes open up instead of him hacking up contested threes. If he can find a point guard who can take some relief off of him shooting, it didn't help this series because
they don't have much shooting outside of Mitchell, Clarkson, and sometimes Conley and Bogdanovich. Joe Ingles is getting old.
They traded Joe Ingles, I thought, or released him.
Well, good because he was getting old. But I think Bogdanovich has got to go. He's not going to put up 20
Bogdanovich has to stay. You don't need him to put 20 plus though. That's the thing. You need someone who's just going to space the floor, and he can do that. But that you interrupted my point. I was going to say he wasn't there this series because he was injured. And I feel like that hurt them a lot. I think the series would have been closer if he wasn't injured. But I still think the Mavs would have won.
So out of Mavericks and Suns, who are you taking? Especially for tonight's game. Who are you taking game 1 in Phoenix?
Game 1 in Phoenix, I'm going to take the Mavericks. I think right now they're Devin Booker, we don't know how healthy he is or if he's going to be as good. I give him 1 or 2 games till he's back to full scoring machine.
He's putting
strength.
up 42 tonight.
I think he puts up 20 and 6. I'm going to go 20 and 6. Chris Paul.
42 points, 8 of 11 from downtown. Chris Paul puts up 17 with 12 assists.
And you're saying all of this after they went to 6 games with the Pelicans?
Yep.
Okay, I see the Mavericks winning this game by like 3 points, 2 points. Not going to be a blowout, but.
No. I said Chris Paul's going to have 17 points.
Yeah. I said the Mavericks.
So where are you getting this blowout from?
Well, if D-Book has 42 and Chris Paul has 17,
How much is Dre Crowder gonna have? How much is DeAndre Ayton gonna have?
Listen, they'll
They're
win
all
by
off.
like 12, but it's going to come down to free throws at the end of the game.
Well, I don't. You've got me lost because the stats you're throwing out via player, it's
Suns in 6.
suggesting a blowout. I'm gonna go Suns in 7. I think the Mavericks win the first game.
Well, just a little update before we wrap up. I mean, we'll talk more about this on Wednesday. We're hoping we can get Alec back. He's just busy with his personal stuff. Heat are up by 13, just over 10 minutes to go.
Great.
Looks like game 1 will be ending here shortly for the 76ers, and hopefully Joel Embiid can get a new orbital.
And this
Shit
is
for
this
his
is
eye.
the second time he's had an orbital fracture. The first time was when he got elbowed in the face by Kelly Olynyk, I believe. So,
Oh, Kelly Olynyk is like a white Draymond Green.
except I think he's injured more people than Draymond has. Like he did the thing to Kevin Love, smacked Embiid in the face, and
Speaking of Draymond, probably the worst call I've seen in the playoffs recently.
that was a
was
horrible call. Well, it's just the stigma he has now. It's like, oh, it's Draymond. If he's pulling on a shirt, it's got to be a flagrant too. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's grabbing that shirt. Sure, that's maybe a technical. Maybe.
Well, I'm anxious because we're closing in on 100 days until college football is back and the NFL is back. And I cannot wait for us to talk about college football again. That was kind of our strong suit when it was here. A lot to talk about. NBA playoffs are about to hit full swing. The series are looking very good so far, besides the Boston-Milwaukee one. That was more of a blowout than a close game.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But this Warriors-Grizzlies series is going to be a bloodbath. Should be great.
I'm glad you brought up college football. We don't have to get in depth in it at all. I just want to say USC is going to be either a 9-win or 10-win team. Thank you.
We'll talk more about it. And also, shout out to Quinn and Irish Coffee Cafe, I believe is what it's called. His YouTube channel talks about Notre Dame recruiting as well. Probably bring him on when we get close to Notre Dame football season, because he was kind of had boots on the ground while he was attending Notre Dame University. And he still has some ties right now with the coaching staff and some of the players there. So we'll definitely bring him on when season gets closer. Hoping to get more guests on the show as well. So if you'd like to be a guest, I will put a poll out on Twitter. Comment, vote on it. Let me know your names. Kind of just pick one out of the hat. We'll pick a subject and go from there.
Yes, we will.
Other than that, Kellen, I got nothing else.
Oh, I don't have anything else either. I do want to say Dan Orlovsky.
Yes, thank you, Dan.
That was freaking wild. If you don't know, Dan Orlovsky replied to a tweet we had. And that tweet also just via Dan replying got a ton of views. So Dan, if by some magical chance you do hear this, thank you.
Come on the show. We'd love to have you.
Why not?
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Go Sixers. Please come back. And I love you, Tim Tebow.